A brown envelope has been a symbol of corruption and deception in this country for a long time now.
It is a spiritual food for everybody. It is a spiritual food for everybody. It is a spiritual food for everybody.
Well lads, what's the story? It's Post-Punk Pod here. I'm on the run from the government at the moment. They exiled me out to a shed in Limerick Junction. They had me sealing and sending off brown envelopes for them because they found me squatting inside in town in the GPO. And Jesus, it's been fairly stressful, just trying to get away from them. My psychologist, Dr. Asparagus Montague, he's currently a member of the band now because they were doing weird stuff to me, man. They were using Clockwork Orange like treatment on me, and they were like injecting Whacker's Punch into my eyeball, which is actually a mixture of fairy liquid and poachine. And they were trying to get me to denounce post and punk, give it all up, and trying to bring me back into society, to work for the RT Concert Orchestra, looking after their instruments. But I'm not going to stand for that. You know what I mean? Things have to be said about corruption. Things have to be said about deception. Things have to be said about what's going on in the world around us. Give a man a mask and he'll tell you the truth.
My name is Dr. Asparagus Montague. I graduated with 7 degrees in psychiatry from Trinity College, Limerick. I specialised in a range of disorders generally affecting young men, ranging from anger to intensive excitement, excessive masturbation, obsessions with peas, all sorts really. And yes, I have a very, very deep background in every kind of mental disorder. Well, I was called in to capture Podge, and he was running around quite a while in the GPO once upon a time. I was a practicing psychiatrist at the time, and it was quite wild. So once we captured him and we had to bundle him, he was quite violent actually, it was quite awful. And we bundled him into the back of a van, and basically we had to bring him to Limerick Junction, far away from all kind of society, I suppose. So, it was quite a time, and it was very, very difficult. He's quite a large chap and very good at waving a hurl around, and it was quite dangerous actually.
I find that the mask helps me express who I really am, because I'd be a nervous person and I'd find it hard to get up in front of a crowd and do it without the mask, to be honest. It helps me express the things I want to say, that I'd be able to say them without it, but I wouldn't have the same confidence, I feel,
The first time I experienced Post-Punk Podge was probably the collaboration he did with Naive Ted. My friend Steve is really into a lot of the unseen stuff, and he kind of showed us it, and we were like, oh, who the fuck is this guy?
I got lost in the post in 1985.
And I just remember Podge coming screaming up the back of the room with a communion bell and a cape on. So that was my first face-to-face experience with the Beast.
Yeah, absolutely. I get to jump up and down, I get to shout and scream quite a lot, which is very primal experience, you know. You really get to shout quite a lot. And often quite inflammatory statements, which can be quite modest, to be honest. And who wouldn't like to kick against the pricks? That's because it's one of the songs, you see. Very nice, very nice.
And sometimes the lyrics come first and sometimes the music comes first. So like, I'll sample a beat and I might have a bass, I might jam over it and I'll find the bass line in it and I'll loop that. I suppose I'm not trying to be overtly political, I'm talking fairly general in the songs. I mean, there's a huge influence from the band Crass in terms of the lyrics, and they always said that there is no authority but yourself, that you are your own person, like, do you know what I mean? That the government and religion and all this, it doesn't have control over you. Well, it only has if you want it to be. So there's a line in the song, Kick Against the Pricks, that goes, there's no authority, no religion, no class system that defines who we are or how we are judged. They are imagined divisions that cause hatred and war. Don't be conned into believing in this form of control.
No.
You look at Limerick 5 years ago, 2012, it was in a kind of a dark kind of place. I mean, it's still, there's a lot of places closed up in town, there's still a lot of urban renewal that just hasn't worked, but it seems to be rising out of the ashes at the moment. But it definitely produces this sort of creativity because there's not a whole lot else to do, do you know what I mean? The weather isn't great outside, we've no beach. It definitely pushed me, like, I mean, I'm not a young fella now, but I mean, it definitely pushed me when I was younger. I mean, it was a form of escape for me from difficulties, personal difficulties, or the world around me, or what I was going through. I mean, I found punk a great way of expressing my anger and expressing my frustrations, you know. It happens in waves. Sometimes you just be writing lyrics and it'll just all come in one go, just not thinking about it too much. Two of the songs came like that, and then another song was more like reading like about philosophy and taking that on board, and kind of how can I take a title of like a philosophical reading, which was Culture of Mass Deception. So I took that title and I wrote about basically music myself, but also what's been going on with Anglo-Irish Bank and the banking situation in Ireland and what's been happening with that. Like, it's all ties into that song. It's mostly about Anglo-Irish Bank, and I'm very much pointing the finger at the names of bankers in the outro to the song. But it's I mean, it's going on at the moment, and I know people that are directly affected by this. Like, I've seen how this has affected their lives, and I feel I'm expressing my anger at that. I'm not saying it's everyone's anger, but I'm talking to other people, and I see a lot of people that feel the same way. So that's why I'm writing this song. And I mean, there's nothing I can say in a song, I feel, that is worse than the actions of these people, and that is the point of the EP. Like, that's why it's called Kick Against the Pricks. tone with me, then that's usually what I like about it. Like I like all genres of music as such, you know.